Hello, David here, and the project for today is repairing some prayer books. This first one here just has some loose pages in there. These have some pages that have fallen out, and if it was just a matter of tipping in some loose pages, I wouldn't even be making this video because I already have a video on how to do that. But the problem with these two is that pages have fallen out and they've gone missing, and I need to reproduce the pages, trim them, and then tip those in. And I've contacted the publisher and tried to get some loose pages from them, and they never bothered to return my messages. And it's kind of sad because in the publishing industry, the books are put together in groups of signatures, either 16-page signatures or 32-page signatures, and it probably takes about 100 sheets just to get the color of ink up and the page registered, or the text registered on the page rather. So you never get the same quantity for every signature. It's always a different quantity, and there's always press sheets sitting around that can be either thrown away or used for another run. So that's where I'm at. The deal with this is you want to try to match the paper weight. A typical copy machine paper that you use is 20 pound bond. We mic it with the micrometer. It's miking at 4/1000ths of an inch. This paper's coming in at 3/1000ths of an inch, so it's thinner. And there's a paper called Bible paper. It's not necessarily only for Bibles, it's also used for dictionary, but they call it Bible paper, and it's a thinner paper. It's made to be more opaque, and I think it's got titanium dioxide in it to make it more opaque, and it's got more cotton fibers in it to make it stronger, and that's just so they could cram more sheets of paper into the book so it's not so heavy and not so bulky. So here's an example of type of Bible paper. I think this is a thesaurus. Familiar quotations. Let's see what we got going on here. This is I think even thinner. Yeah, this is a little more than 2/1000ths of an inch, probably 2.2/1000ths of an inch. Now you're probably wondering, the basis weight for the copy paper is 50 pounds, but its equivalent in text paper for books is, did I say 50 pounds? The copy paper that you use in your copy machine is a 20 pound bond for the basis weight. The basis weight of a text paper and equivalency of a 20 pound is called 50 pound. And you're thinking, though, the weights are different. Why is the thickness the same? Well, the reason for that is the basis size. In the copy machine paper, the basis size that the industry uses is 17 by 22. So at the mill, they take 500 sheets at 17 by 22, and when they weigh it, it should weigh 20 pounds. And that's how they finish it. When they run it through the rollers to get the thickness they want, their standard is to get 20 pounds at 17 by 22 for 500 sheets. In text papers, the basis size is different. Instead of using 17 by 22, they use a 25 by 38. It's a larger sheet. So 500 sheets of 25 by 38 would weigh 50 pounds. So that's why it's equivalent. It's just because they use different basis sizes. And you might want to ask, why do they use different basis sizes? And I don't know. Who knows? But that's what they do. So the tricky part in all this will be registration. If you look at a page, the text lines up exactly. If you were to shine a light through the back, let's try it. I don't know if you can see this. You shine a light through the back, the image lines up exactly in the same spot, so that when you're flipping the page while you're reading, the text doesn't jump around. And also you have to keep the margins consistent. You see at the side you have to have a wider margin for the binding. This is a glued binding. It's trimmed 4 sides and then glued for perfect binding. So you got to have a little bit more room there for the glue, and you don't need as much room on the top, bottom, and the outside. So what I've done, you have to register your copy machine. By registration, I mean when you flip your page over, it's got to print in the same spot, so it registers front and back. So what I did was I took a sheet of paper and I drew a center point on it, and I made 2 copies, and then I put the copy that I printed, and I flipped it over and ran the back side. So this is the one on which I ran the back side, and that's my center point here, and this is where the copy made a center point. And let's take a look at that. I don't know if you'll see it, but here's the center point on the face, but the center point on the back lined up here. Up and down, it's perfect. It's on the same line, but the shift was 3/4 of an inch. So what you have to do is get some masking tape on the platen of your copy machine, set up your page, and then when you put that page in to print over the back side of it, you have to shift the paper, or shift your image rather, move your masking tape over, change them, keep the masking tape the same on the bottom, but for sideways, you have to move the masking tape over 3/4 of an inch, on my machine anyway. So I am just about right on. Here's my page. Backside. That's going to be good. So my original registration plan was off kilter to do a left-hand page, the face of that paper, where you have to have a wider margin here. I had to line up my page 3/8 of an inch from this edge and then right on this edge. And then to do the back, I had to flip it over and put it on the extreme end of the platen glass right there. So what you do is you just run your first page, the facing page, which will be the left-hand side of the page. First you set that up so you got the right margin, and when you get that margin, mark that with the tape, and then run about 5 or 6 sheets. Well, you only need to run about 2 sheets, and then put turn the paper over, and then run the next page on the back of that, and then see what you get, and however off it is, you measure that distance from where you were here, and you adjust the position on the platen. Is that clear as mud? I used one of the original pages to make some tick marks for dimensions for trimming. Then I used a straight edge and a pencil to mark the edges. I don't have a trimmer, so I'm just going to have to use scissors. It's not likely I'm going to get the trim to the exact trim of this page, so if you have a case like that, make it like a 32nd of an inch shorter. You don't want the page sticking out with the rest of the text. So shorter is better than bigger. Okay, let's start pasting. I'm going to start with the easy one that just had some loose pages in there. I'm using my Talus J711 acid-free glue. It's archival. And I like to use a skewer for putting the glue on. All these pages in here at the bottom are loose. And I had to cut away the original perfect binding glue that was in there because I have to expose these edges to the glue. It's not going to take a lot of glue. Just want to make sure I push that down in there. Clamp that with some encyclopedias. So I did a page pull test on the adjacent pages and I found some more that were pulling out. I'm going all the way from 16 to 30 were too easy to pull out. I want to re-glue them. Yeah, 31's in pretty good. The next thing to do is go through and make sure I don't have any missing pages. So I'm going to do that off camera. I'm going to jog these pages to make sure that they are all even. I'm going to clamp them on the outside. It's not straight up and down. Okay, that's going to need some glue in there as well. Better cut that old glue out of there. Oh my, they're sticking out. Probably should have trimmed them all shorter. On this next one, I think I'm just going to trim a little off the margin. And this book has some problems with these pages coming loose. Okay, right in there. Put some glue in there. Okay, this goes in here 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, 24 hours have elapsed. Let's see what we got here. This is the one that needed the minimal amount of work. was just loose in the bottom here. You know, to give it strength, I think I'm just going to put a little line of glue in there and let that sit overnight. Here's the one where I had to copy pages, and that's opening up in here, so I definitely have to put glue in there and let that sit overnight. Yeah, that's very loose there, as you can see. Likewise on this one. This one needs to be re-glued and clamped overnight. Well, it's the next day. This is the one that needed the minimal amount of work, and pages are glued in pretty tightly. I'm not going to cut these introductory pages out because nobody reads them, and it's going to give the book a little more strength. So that's ready to ship. This one. Pages are glued in pretty tight on this one. Pretty happy with that. I'm not happy with the edges. We're going to address that later. This one's not ready because I don't feel there's enough glue in here. You can see in there it's not strong enough. I need to add more glue to that. And up in the beginning, up here, going to add a little more glue to that. So this one needs some more gluing. So next day, let's see how this one's doing. Much better. Okay, we got to address this. Not only is this ugly, but it makes it difficult to thumb through the pages. I don't have a guillotine trimmer. If I did, I would trim off about 1/16 of the whole edge. There's enough margin there. But I'm going to have. If I were to trim with scissors, I'm afraid it's going to be either too long or too short. I'm going to use a utility knife. That's a little messy. I'm going to have to go with the scissors. Okay, I have it looking better. I got it trimmed down on 3 sides, and it looks like scissors was a lot better than using the utility knife. Just don't try to cut off too many pages. Maybe go with 5 or 6 sheets at a time. But now it's easier to thumb through. I'm going to consider this a success. I want to thank you guys and gals for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more great videos from David GPO.